Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the commentary desk.
How did I get over
game
here?
number 1 from set number 1 today. No, that was just production talking, stupid. You don't need to be confused. That wasn't us. Guys, it is a third place match that you would have had to be clairvoyant to see coming. It's Eager versus Enemy. Or, I'm sorry, Eager versus Envyus. That was the hardest set in the world to cast, was Enemy Envy.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Because every time that you would say one of them, I would be like, I'm really not entirely sure who he's talking about.
Oh, see, I was going to say it was actually harder to cast Epsilon and LDNC because there was just nothing to talk about.
Yeah, but it is the third place match here out of North America. Remember, winner of this goes on to play the European third place winner that will be crowned just after this match to go into the third best of 3 today for the final spot at Worlds. Envyus, Eager. Most of the analysts, pro players, and whatnot that I've heard talk around town are giving this one to Eager in 2.
What about you, Snoops?
I think Eager's got a really good shot today. I think they had the harder matchup within the semifinal bracket.
Yeah.
And they still got to fit 5 games. And I think that's going to really help them, especially with that confidence, like playing against Cloud9 as opposed to losing to Enemy.
True humility coming out from the TSM captain who also lost to Enemy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yikes.
Well, yeah, they had the harder bracket. We still lost in round 1.
I mean, theoretically. Theoretically, it's the harder bracket.
Enemy, dude.
Enemy looks great.
Vishium
yeah.
looked like the best hunter in the room this weekend.
Vishium's a very solid player, and he's repping from Canada as well.
There we go.
You, Jeff Handler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's our third Canadian pro.
Yeah. Actually, Just is, I think, Ontario as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Stupid didn't even know. And he's our resident Canadian.
Oh, we're
My
in Picks
bad.
and Bands.
P's and B's, here we go,
Oh
boys.
my God,
Game number 1
Team
already
Eager.
underway.
Team Eager
It's
has
Eager.
banned Cirquette. I can't believe it.
Well, and there's the Naja ban just cause. I mean, that was like the big tale of doom for Eager in their set versus Cloud9. Goes to game 5. They pick their kind of patented Naja into Cirquette, and Cirquette has 100% kill participation and no deaths.
And Andy was 10th pick. You know, it was actually the 10th pick, and the rest of Cloud9 was like, you need to pick Thor, you need to pick this, you need to pick this, you know? And he's like, I need to pick Cirquette. And they're like, no, Cirquette, no way, you're not picking. He goes, guys, I need you to trust me on this.
Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made the captain call.
When he gets something in his head,
Let's just point this out real quick, guys, as the Pickers band comes in before we talk about the gods. You'll notice that the stats there as they come up. So prior to this, they were from the split 3.
Right.
These are the land stats.
So the land stats are 8% Zhong pick?
No way. Yeah, that's
that's definitely
no
incorrect.
way that's the
Don't think
case.
so.
Maybe that's an 80 or a 100, just kind of turned sideways and it looks like an 8.
1% ban Zhong from land. Confirmed. Yeah. Bart.
So, it's Zeus. Picked up first here for Eager to go to Lassiz, Bellona, Zhong.
Lassiz is the only player in the room that made this character look viable in my eyes.
Now remember, the big learning coming out of the Cloud9 Eager set from at least talking to MLC was that Zhong is bad and loses you games.
However, Xing Chen is not bad and wins you games.
Yes, that's right. Especially in the hands of what appears to be probably Omega. I don't see this being a PBM god.
To the same point for me with Lassiz and Zeus, I think Zhong and Incon. I think Incon needs tanky gods to be able to play the game correctly. And I think is probably the only mid laner right now that should be playing Zhong. But Eager and C9, after their set, both said, like out loud, I think Zhong is a liability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what I was saying there. I mean, what basically came out of it was, well, what if you just pop your shell and fight him? And the answer was a loss for Eager.
Yeah.
Shell, Isosol.
But overall here, I'm liking the Envyus draft a little bit more than the Eager draft, with the exception of the Xing Chen, who's been such a dominant force. But Bellona, Mercury, Athena, ton of CC, long-range initiation. Also, worth noting here, it's going to be weekend playing that Mercury again that he's gone to a few times in this tournament so far. Soul, 10th pick. Probably not a lot of people that would have told you there would be a Soul 10th pick in any of these games.
I think she's been pretty overrated this weekend.
Yeah, I would say the same thing too. Not too many, or like a lot of damage coming in the early game. Not a ton going on in the late game team fights, but I'm actually looking. I really like Eager's team comp. It's really team fight heavy.
Yeah.
With that Xing Chen, Zeus, and Geb, and then you still have that semi-global Thor presence to help out with the early game in the ganks.
I feel like the Humbots pick wasn't a shot to DaretoCare. I feel like that was them being shaken from a Just.
Yeah.
I don't think this was. I mean, if I was trying to ban an assassin out against DaretoCare, I probably would have banned Thor.
Yeah.
Soul does have a 100% pick ban rate in this tournament so far.
That's not what it says on the screen bar.
Now, yeah, this is something it's kind of bugged me throughout the weekend that we haven't really seen anybody try to play Soul as a mid-game
Mid-laner.
fighter. or a mid laner
Or
for that
mid-
matter.
yeah.
But
Well, we
like,
had Arrow and we had...
Arrow played it, yeah. But it's,
Oh,
it's
interesting.
not so much
There was one
the
more. Oh, Lobster.
not so much the position for me. Hey, look, it's Cret and Kevin.
Kevin.
Hey, the WWE standoff.
Well, no, that was Timmy from Australia. All I saw was the chest hair. I don't know.
But this soul buildup. I mean, we've really only seen a primarily cooldown based soul with like Book of Thoth power stacking.
Yeah.
Where's
Well-
our pen boots and like damage
I don't know
mid
what
game
was
fighting
building
soul?
Yeah, Zap was building full 0 cooldown, full power with a poly, Rod at the Hootie, just going for that late game, mid game burst damage.
That's what I'm
and
looking for. I'm
it
looking
worked out
for
pretty well.
I'm looking for a mid game fighting soul because I think she's very very powerful. Obviously she can scale well into the late game, but if you get those pen boots online, one power item and another pen item, like it's really crazy amounts of damage to a single target. And what you see from Soul in these fights is she primarily is just nipping around the corners of the fights, throwing out the twos, not really getting in and fighting so much. All that extra power is not really going anywhere. And so I'm looking for some kind of debuff or something can be easily applied with that ability, but we'll see how Allied plays it.
So starting off, I think it's important to note that Xing Chen on Omega is going to be, it should be by history's repeating itself most likely, and that's Omega should be a nightmare.
Well, from what we've
how do you
seen
deal with this?
Elsewhere in the tournament, the player that's not favored to win the lane, more or less, that gets the Xing 10 has done exceptionally well. Looking at like Variety, right? Variety on Xing 10 was a different player than Variety on any other god in the solo lane this tournament.
Starting off strong, Lassiz going for shield here. Thought we would see Chain Lightning, but they clear it very quickly. 16-second timing is about average. You want to see 18-second timing for clearing the speed camp, which is actually what we got from Mercury and CycloneSpin on the top side. DaretoCare and Omega about 2 seconds behind.
Shield's really good for the mid lane clear as opposed to where Chain Lightning would be more
At level
the buff
1?
clear. Yeah, at level 1. It helps out because Zhong getting the lane first, still just barely out clearing Zeus with a couple auto attacks to push off this mid wave.
Zapman very low here. First blood goes to Allied, and he's trying to get out. PolarBearMike's in a lot of trouble here.
He's dead.
2 more shots, and that's going to be a clean 2-0 in the duo lane.
That's not what you want to see from a Soul. Not really the best early game character, but getting those 2 kills early, she's gonna have boots finish fast.
I mean, that's Xbalanque, right?
Well, it's
Yeah.
Purple Pot Soul, remember, and this was the big knock that our pro player analyst had against Envyus and Allied's build out on Soul first game around was that he bought a Purple Pot and didn't really do anything but just dominate the lane. There was no real kill potential or pressure
Lassiz.
applied. No way to make up.
This is big. This is huge. Here comes the shield.
Where's the
He's
wall?
looking. What? Oh, he didn't have his cooldowns.
Does he even have wall?
He has the shield now. Oh man,
Can we take a look at Thor's build up here?
that
Does he
hurt.
not
We got
have?
2 points and a 3.
Yeah.
I assume.
Oh wow.
What do you? I mean, yeah.
It's tough unless you see the opportunity.
That's
like
right.
if you hit level 3, then you're like, I might as well get the 2 points on my 3. Instead, the wall definitely would have been better than that situation.
That hurt me. As a Smite fan, that hurt because like the opportunity
Could've been
was
big
there,
damage.
but the shield was down. He couldn't find the Chain Lightning from that range. The wall wasn't. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think they get a kill there without the Thor stun either way, though.
You don't. I mean, dude, Chain Lightning slow is not a joke. And against Zhong, like, where's he going?
Fair enough. But Ally does make up that purple pot here in this game, which should be a pretty good outing for his soul now. I mean, this should be complete dominance in this lane now.
Not only does he have more than enough gold, but the experience difference is going to be a big key as well.
No level 5 just yet. Going to be coming up shortly. Let's check into the solo lane. Where does CycloneSpin versus Omega on his Xing Tian.
Omega's got 2 more levels, and then he's good.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say about this matchup, it is very favored for Xing Chen from what I've heard from pretty much every solo laner. Bellona goes in for that 2 and you just knock it up immediately. Bellona rotating to mid lane though, going on DaretoCare. I think he just used his hammer.
And Lassiz gets level 5, but not in time. He'll get some detonate damage, but that's pretty much all he's going to get. Decent damage, actually, but no rotation from Omega, and that's the rotation we have been lacking from Cyclone for the past 2 months.
Yeah, that was, I mean, you heard Stevie say it. That was just straight up, they just realized, hey, he used his hammer to farm. That's an easy kill. And that is the kind of the hallmark of the, we're going to have an Athena ultimate here. Into the mid lane, where they're going to try to make the play once again onto Zeus. Lassiz moves up a little bit too far, and down he will go. They will trade out for Mercury, though.
That's actually a pretty big win in my eyes. Going the 1-for-1 there, especially after they get the kill once he already has the kill onto Mercury, means that they're getting extra bounty, plus the fact that that was not a red pot Mercury. He started with boots. So this is actually a pretty big benefit for Envy right there as they lead 4-1. But remember, we have seen them in this position. They started a game out 3-0 previously, and they lost that game pretty steadily. That was game 1 versus enemy.
With a 2-0 Thor at the beginning of the game.
God bless.
That's tough. It's a tough loss.
Snoopy a little salty. He's like, we could have beat him.
I mean, if Gar's had a 2-0 Thor at the end of the game, I don't know.
No, you're a caster. You can't criticize
That's
the
true.
player.
That's true.
You're going to be a Reddit thread.
Now the question is, can Zapman recover somehow in this lane? Can he recover in a meaningful way to the late game?
I would say that Zap can't recover while in laning phase. It's going to be more dependent on the team fights and how he plays with that ultimate and tries to get to the back line, picking up like kills on squishy targets. But definitely for now, he's going to get bullied out of lane. He's not going to have that sustain for a while going to Transcendence build. And it's going to take at least until probably level 14, 15 before he can do anything relevant.
Right, but I mean, that's what we've seen before. It's a very late game meta right now, and if we actually go back to when Envy became the top team in North America, it was because of their trip to LAN to the spring finals, because they defeated Cloud9 in the final set, and that defeat actually came at the hands of late game Allied, who got dominated all game 2v1ing. If there's any god in the game that can turn the game around in the end game, it's absolutely Xbalanque.
Oh, definitely.
Or like old Guan, but I don't think that counts.
For me, one of the big things that used to really stand out about the way this Envyus team would play is kind of this period right here. If you recall when they were so dominant, they were extremely dominant on the enemy side of the map at the 4-minute mark with the respawn of the camps. And here you're seeing there's just no pressure or penetration really into the Eker side of the map to stop those buff camps or attempt to fight them, right? I mean, so often they would find kills with the orange buff as the mid laner rotated over, pick him up and try to find the jungler as well. But not to be the case this time, as Eager will secure their buffs.
For Envy, I think their win condition here is the same win condition that has always been on any team, rather going up against Lassiz in the history of competitive Smite, and that's kill Lassiz, win the game. There has never been a point in time where if you just focus down Lassiz, that his team won. That's where the fall of Dignitas came, the fall of Root, back to Curse when Zapman and he were on separate teams. It's how Eager started to fall, and it's how Eager has gotten better. When they switch Lassiz back to the mid lane, it's like people forgot that they need to camp him. Just camp Lassiz. Opposite side, Eager, it's just all about DaretoCare. Like if DaretoCare can get a really good timing at like 14 or 15 minutes for an objective fight and kind of break that 12-minute curse that he's been, I think, holding, maybe has been inherited since Raffer's fall last year, I think that Eager has a clean 2-0 here.
I think the one thing that's going to bring Eager back into the game is a good rotation from Omega. Getting that Jing in with maybe a huge ult when some of the beats are down, that's just going to spell disaster for them, with especially a Zeus follow-up and maybe Xbalanque there to put in some damage. It's going to be really tough to deal with.
Yeah, especially considering Bellona did find that successful rotation early on in the game for that kill in the mid lane.
Small damage onto Kiki. No worries, Zapman actually taking a little bit of damage for that poke, but he's trying to clear the wave up. He's actually going to get most of these last hits, so that winds up working out pretty well for him.
Eager, they're on pace here to lose their tower around 8 minutes or so, it looks like. Only a few more waves going to be required for Allied to take this one down.
Kiki continuously dashing through, trying to get these stacks up. I like this. I mean, it's a little bit lacking in the aggression now as they go under the tower. But by the way, look at the structure damage.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, I saw that one up a couple times. Yeah, 1,100 there. So that thing's nearly going to go down. This wave's going to get at least a few more in-hands in. Geb's going to body block where he can. But PBM can't take too much of this assault because it's a pretty easy tower dive, right? You rotate this Thor over here.
This is what I'm looking for. Finally, we're going to see DaretoCare on the rotation. Lassiz by himself. DaretoCare is trying to just battle out with Kiki. Kiki definitely taking the worst of that one.
Yeah, Kiki got locked in there with Thor and then had to eat the full Mjolnir's attunement. Very man efficient there, hitting both a god and the entire camp for DaretoCare. That'll work.
Yep.
It's a trade you like. Let's take a look at the solo lane here for a moment, as looks like we're going to have a bit of farming. And see how Omega's faring versus CycloneSpin. Starting to get the better of the Bellona in the HP department on the Xing. All that HP 5 starts to really add up here now as he's getting level 10. He's going to have access to next level's ultimate fairly soon as well.
That's
when the rotation
If I'm thinking about it, I'm actually kind of surprised at the Soul pick instead of Freya, considering the fact that we saw Freya yesterday dominate Xing, like free.
Remember, Soul was like last picked.
Right, where
Yeah.
Freya could have been.
Is there a major difference between Soul and Freya though in their ability to kill tanks?
Yeah, Soul can't chunk Xing the way that Freya. No one can chunk anyone the way that Freya can. Freya is like the anti-Guardian in the Guardian meta, which is why it's been so surprising to me that we haven't seen her.
Snoop, what do you think?
Freya's definitely better at taking on Guardians for sure. She can follow the Guardians a lot easier than Soul. Souls are free to like keep up for the 2 to 3 seconds, but after that you don't have much. Where Freya with the Haste and Vitalis is really easy to keep up, and Demonic Grip, you're going to be chunking those protections either way.
I think we're getting to the point now where Xing no longer cares about the Goddess of War.
Yeah, you saw the ultimate used there by Omega. Cyclone's been forced to ult out as well to avoid getting wrapped up, and yeah, the bullying has begun for Omega with the Xing.
Well,
and he's had Cyclone's number
But remember, he did have the silver breastplate online. Cyclone just now getting that silver talisman, or emerald talisman rather. He can now go to lane and be a little bit more, I would say, hardy. But this is where DaretoCare can start making those plays now, especially with Cyclone's ult down. But remember, if you go to duo, solo, you're going to lose something in duo. You got to be careful about that Gold Fury.
Definitely. Now Omega back got that full cooldown now. He's going to be really hard to deal with in lane, even with the Emerald Talisman.
Wow, that gold lead is much higher than I would have expected off 3 kills.
Yeah, they really farmed the map. I think they've gotten pretty much most of the mid camps off of that, and they've tried to invade some side posts, but I don't think that's been successful.
They've taken some back camps. You know, we've seen them go for things, and obviously it's working out. Oh wait, look at wait. No, didn't get a little bit early.
Close.
I think that was smart though, considering that trying to battle Zeus detonate for executions is like nigh on impossible.
I think he was expecting the Zeus detonate, just maybe the slight chance that he does get in between the detonate and the extra damage.
Oh, just barely missing that one. Kiki would have taken a fair chunk of his health. He walks out unscathed.
Well, approaching the 10-minute mark here, and Envyus has made it through the early game with an advantage over Eager. Just a few thousand gold separating the teams here. 3K experience, 3K gold. And, well, the next big challenge for Envyus here is how is Incon going to play in these objective and team fights? I think that was probably the weakest part of this team earlier on in this tournament. Couple of questionable Isis ultimates, especially, coming out of Incon there. So how's he going to play this Zhong? And really what you should be looking for here is if Zhong dies early in these fights, that's where you're going to look at it and say this is going to be trouble for Team Envyus, and that they're going to have to kind of find a way to get Incon's head in the game. Now, he's a very capable player, obviously, but we'll have to see exactly how it does go down. Gold Fury is going to be started up here by Envyus. Let's take a listen to the Eager comms and see if they're going to be able to aggress into this.
Oh, it's really weak.
We can fight
Zhong.
I'm here.
He's really weak.
They're on me. Knocking up. I have shield ready for anyone. Shield ready for anyone.
Back up left, back up.
Out. Just back up. We can back up here. We got one.
Mid lefts are up.
I have no ult. How about Omega? They're on me. They're
dash.
gonna look for a taunt. There it is. I shielded anyone.
We need to get out. We're not winning this fight.
Backing.
I'm probably dead now.
Yeah, we're gonna die.
Gotta be careful with pathing. Oh, we all backed out together, and we just funneled right there for Athena taunt.
It's doom and gloom on the side of Eager as Envy not only finds the better of the engagement, but the Gold Fury as well, and their gold lead extends from 32 to 4,700 with an experienced kicker of 4,200 as well.
Yeah, you heard it in the comms there. They kind of funneled into that fight 1v1. But I do want to point out there, I mean, you saw Incon's positioning not very amazing on that Zhong. Like, I think that the comms from Envyus were trying to disengage there, and he popped his ultimate and walked in. Got isolated, got killed, but it did result in a couple return kills as well as Kiki was able to turn the corner for the taunt.
I wonder if you could have taken that sound clip you just made and put it on any single Envy game this weekend.
About Incon.
Incon being out of position. Right?
Yeah,
I mean that's just been the analysis for the team is Incon's positioning as a mage is much, much weaker.
I mean, he's new to the role again. I mean, Incon was once.
He's been stealing my elo for like 3 weeks.
Extremely dominant mid lane player, but in ranked especially.
Those are probably the two most opposite roles positioning-wise, mage and support. So it would be difficult with the short amount of time to go between the two.
I don't know, Hunter and Solo.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Solo's kind of like behind the whole team fight, going for that one kill. Hunter's sitting pretty far back.
Hunter's the one trying to kill the solo laner.
Yeah.
Right?
But he's got that Midgardian mail and Nemean line.
And his Shield of the Underworld.
He sounds so angry right now.
Super not a fan of anti-lifesteal items, sounds like. Anti-attack speed.
Anti-anything Hunter.
Anti-Hunter items. Yeah, where are the anti-warrior items, Snoopy?
Hey, chin size exists. You guys refuse to build it.
I dislike that item. Takes away from my critical strike chance.
It's all about the big numbers for Snoopy. Heard it here first. 6-2 for Envyus now as we approach 13 minutes.
What is this?
Yeah, just the, not really sure. The three-man pressure over here on the right side from Envy.
I wonder what the comms are like for, hey, we should try to kill Xing Chen.
No, I think it's just like, hey, Gold Fury's down. Like, let's go hunting.
I think they definitely know that the speed's coming up because Cyclone was in the radius for it.
That's
So
true.
they're probably grouping up for something around there.
Lassiz in a weird spot.
Omega doesn't even care.
Yeah, and he's going to send out some decent damage. Not sure why Kiki just dashed into that wall.
Yeah, what happened there? That was really strange.
I heard Thor. He's going up.
Mercury ulted out there.
Yeah, that was a lot of disengagements.
It was 2 ultimates used to disengage from a Xbalanque ultimate. They were just worried about getting wrapped up in that Xing Tian.
DaretoCare able to get
They
away
didn't even
from
have an
that
ult,
one.
though.
I don't know about this ally being on this side of the map here. Zapman's going to have a really good run-in. Not many ultimates remaining. We have a few big team fight ults with Eagles Rally, Recall Demons. It looks like we still have... oh, wow, we have Lightning
Domain
Storm
Cataclysm. In will come the Xing Tian as well. Double flip onto Allied. Allied going to go in that corporal form here in just a moment. Zeus ultimate used as well, and Eager's going to be able to hide out underneath this tier 1.
I think that's
successfully poking about 50% of the HP from Envyus across the
not the
board.
best spot.
Rooted now is Zhong. They're going to have his beads. Down he will go as well. Soul ultimate used, but off the mark. No real damage coming through. Trying to move forward is Kiki. Shield wall down. The taunt as well. Bellona over the top. That could be enough for
That's
Zeus.
good for
Bludgeon
Cyclone.
should do it. Indeed, it is. Lassiz now down. Spinning away is Xing Tian. Trying to roll out is going to be the Geb, but looks like Zapman moving forward with the bolas will be enough to zone them.
Man, you can't even be angry with Eager about forgetting about Bellona because I completely lost track of her in that fight.
Yeah, I don't know where she went. She just came
Dash
out.
in taunt as well onto
Oh,
Zapman. They get his
no.
beads 1 as well. He's going to leap away. This is going to be the tier 1 secured now for Envy, it appears.
I thought Envy was scooping around the jungle already. It looks like they're going to try to stick around for this. I'm surprised to see Allied still here. I would have thought at this point he would have backed.
Well, he has the tier 1 already.
True, but I mean, like, he still wants experience. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but they have the tier 1 mid, tier 1 left. There's really no place for him to go safely farm. Both the lanes are pushed up pretty far.
Look at that structure
Sieging
damage.
another tier 1 is going to be probably the best for him.
DaretoCare going to get his speed. So far, the speed has gone well for him, at least. But Eager's had a rough start. I don't think many people expected this.
Nah, Envy's played this really well from the get-go and seem to be pushing their lead really well. It's not get the early game and then kind of peter out thing. They've been pressuring everywhere. They've gotten 3 tier 1s, which is pretty crazy, and a gold for you already.
Yeah, the big difference for me has been CycloneSpin looking like old form here. That early rotation was big. I mean, he showed a nice ability to move out of the solo lane and find effectiveness in the fights. That's twice now he's had a big rotation.
I think that we're actually having a little bit of trouble from Omega. I feel like the Breastplate of Valor has slowed down his damage potential, and even though he did win 1 engagement against Cyclone, that was before Cyclone got his level of defense online, and I don't see him having the same level of pressure. I mean, they don't have a way to really break the beads before that ult, so he's not getting a lot of efficiency out of the Whirlwind, and then his front line isn't as strong considering he has no magic damage against a Soul Hunter and a Zhong. There's a lot of magic damage on Envy.
But I think it's okay for him to use the Xing Tian Whirlwind to get the beats, because they have the re-engage from Thor as well as get Cataclysm.
Yeah, they have actually a lot of beads popping and a lot of reinitiation, and we're not kind of seeing that. And we're already past the point where DaretoCare has been his strongest throughout this tournament. I mean, if history repeats itself here, Dare's not going to have too much pressure unless he changes his playstyle, and he's going to need to.
Started up once again by Envyus trying to bait Eager into a fight. Let's take a listen in with Envyus as the fight's going to break out here. PolarBearMike moving forward.
Almost
That's low.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I'm in
his
the
soul?
back. I'm still on.
That's it, that's
Xing
I'm okay. I'm okay. Xing ult down.
Thor.
I'm on Thor.
Thor.
I have taunt for 2.
Nice.
Nice job. I have a taunt.
I gotta be
Taunt
careful.
in
I'm
one.
low. I'm really low.
Incon slow. I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
No,
fine.
We can
Okay. Start it.
Did you say this? Can I back or
Yeah,
can I
I
stay?
can.
Heal off middle. What the fuck?
Okay.
Still
Okay,
fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine by myself.
I'm staying.
I think it's
Careful.
free.
We have to turn. You guys are fine.
I think it's free, dude.
Free, it's
Burn
free,
it. Nice job.
Well played.
Yo, I got
Nice
Thor.
good job.
I all didn't do shit.
I
Oh,
baited everyone
Yeah,
with
I was
soul.
looking for the ult and I was like, where the fuck is the Mercury?
I could roll my dude. Shivani on OP. Yeah.
I could get shell here.
Yeah, you hear the boys of Envyus there giving Weekend a hard time for Mercury ulting into a Thor wall.
Graph's coming up here in just a second. We'll show you. Envyus has controlled the game. It has been a steady decline down that graph. 7,300 gold now is Eager Junior to Envy, and it's just crazy to me how
Eager Junior sounds like a cool team.
What?
Eager Junior.
Isn't that the Xbox team?
Yeah, the amateur Eager.
Air
I guess.
Cougar?
Yeah, the
Captain of the juniors.
the Challengers Cup team they sponsor.
But this has been insane for them so far. I'm actually kind of flabbergasted that Eager has had this week of a game, considering how well they played into the World Champions in their last set.
If Envyus wins this game this handily, I don't know if Eager's going to recover in game 2.
Well, I mean, they got kind of bodied in the first 2 games against Cloud9.
Right,
It looked like
this is a best of 3, not a best of 5.
Right, but I'm saying, like, it still looked like a swift 3-0, and their mentality battled back. And that's one thing you got to give Eager credit for, is the mentality change they've had over the last 18 months. Like, if you've watched them as players as closely as, you know, some of the fans have, they have become such positive people in their comms. Like, there's very little tilting now. It's actually really impressive.
This team, the issue that I have with this team is that the hardest thing for them to do is get their first win. Once they get their first win in a set, they end up generally playing pretty well and finding consecutive wins. You saw it in that Cloud9 set, but I don't know if they're going to find their first win before Envyus just ends them. I mean, this game is going to be very difficult for them to pull back. And what's going to be maybe good for them is it's not that necessarily Eager has made this game particularly hard for themselves in the way they played.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here comes Weekend moving in.
This is good for Eager. This is great for Eager.
Cataclysm's big, on to 3. Here comes Xing doesn't find anybody. The Book of Demons is open. Athena to the back lines as she ults out. Soul Ultimate's going to come down, not finding too much. CycloneSpin's going to go down in this fight early on. The Zeus Ultimate uses the back lines of zone. KikiSoCheeky trying to move forward. Looks like they're going to drop Kiki as well here. Yes, Branching Bull is unable to confirm that kill, however. That would have been great for Zapman. I don't think Zap's going to want to chase this too far.
Bellona is in a really good spot. She backed, actually. She didn't die.
Yeah, Zap's
and she
gonna be a lot of trouble
teleported
here.
back in. Zap's out of position, and Cyclone's right in the back line.
That knockup there.
He's diving, but no one's following him up. Omega's back as well, full health, just like Cyclone did. The turnaround's going to be, again, big for Eager.
Yeah, big body block coming out there from Omega as well. There's the dot here, the spins. That should be enough to net the kill onto the Bellona. She's going to try to come back in and get the bludgeon to fall onto Zapman. One thing I do want to point out there in that fight, though, was that Lassiz got credit for like all of those kills that Zapman nearly got. They could have picked up about another 15 power in that Xbalanque. Unfortunately, they only do secure the 1 kill for Zap.
I'm sure he'll get at least 15 power on that Zeus with that gold, though, right?
Yeah. He'll finish off his Spear of the Magus, it looks like here, to follow up that E-Staff build. Not going for the Warlock Slash. I like that. I think Zeus is a brawler. You know, you want to get him in there and start fighting.
And, you know, getting him with some penetration. Think about the fact that he is second on the damage charts right now before he had penetration. Like, that's insanity. And now that he's got at least a little bit with that Spear too, and now his red buff, he'll be able to do a lot more damage in team fights.
One thing I do want to mention, you were talking about Eager's mentality. It's really tough to not get a little bit tilted when your dueling gets double killed at a minute in the game. I think that's one of the things that kind of swung the game. Obviously, early
See, but
game
that's
is really
not fair
important,
analysis because you're in the duo lane. You're not objective.
You're right.
Yeah, you tilt when you get double killed at minute 1.
Of course not, of course.
No, I think that you make a good point there, and I don't think it played out necessarily that you saw Eager's comms fall apart or any kind of the blame game start up, but you did see that there was a big trepidation, we'll say, from DaretoCare to really make any kind of play on the left side because of that level advantage on Envyus. Very unlikely that they find any kills, and so as a result of that, they didn't get a lot of pressure around the map from their early game jungler there.
Zap has made it back to the same level as Allied, which is really impressive. Allied still not taking a spill. He's 2-4.
It's over 1,000 gold behind them.
Right, but I mean, it's Soul and Xbalanque. I mean, Xbalanque uses that gold a lot better than Soul does.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it basically it ends up working out likely that Eager will have to just win an extra fight. Because that Soul is going to be, a couple minutes ahead of Zapman for the rest of this game. Taunt comes in, but the stone shield is there.
Did you see that right there? All of Envy was clearly calling back off, and Kiki went in anyway. There was no follow-up potential whatsoever. Even if that taunt had been a second earlier, there wasn't follow-up potential. And that might be an issue. I think Envy is starting to get a little shaken.
Gold Fury up in 10 seconds here. Gotta imagine there's going to be an attempt from Allied on this Soul.
One thing too with a Soul as a hunter, not having a dedicated real hunter, it's tough to just pull Gold Furies without the lifesteal that you get normally with like a Xbalanque or a Rama. That was something that they were, when they made that second Gold Fury, they were like kept pulling it, resetting it, pulling, resetting it, because you don't have that sustain. You have that percentage regen from Soul, but it's a percentage of your missing health, so unless you get really low, it's not going to do a ton.
Yeah, that's a big issue for the Soul, is itemizing for Soul can be very difficult, trying to figure out where the lifesteal fits in the build.
CycloneSpin going for High to the Urchin 22.5 minutes into the game. I mean, at this point, a one wipe could wind up spelling such a big gold difference that he'll never even get a relevant amount of stacks. This might not be super cost efficient here, and if I was Omega and I see that coming online, I would want to be aggressive because this gold isn't worth it until he gets at least, what's it, 4 stacks, Snoopy?
I'm not really sure with the Heart of the Urchin.
I think the cost efficiency is 4 stacks is when it pays for itself, and then at 10 stacks it becomes incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have that Deathbringer finished on Mercury with the golden bow, so if they're going to get kills, it should be now.
Yeah, that's something we haven't talked about. Weekend was getting the most absurd ults you've ever seen in his last set. In this game, it's like
he's ulted twice
he
this
hit
game.
A Thor wall, he hit nothing, and then he hit someone and almost died.
Well, he ulted out of the tier 1 on the right side with an Athena ultimate on top of him. That was like maybe the most troubling thing about this Envyus game so far.
Ulting the
and
Thor
Igor's
wall.
best chance to get out. Well, that's just a mistake, but using the Athena ultimate and the Mercury ultimate to escape the Xbalanque ultimate was a 2-for-1 ult trade, and it turned into an Envyus fight eventually. Here comes a Cataclysm blink in from PolarBearMike, but he only finds the
That's
one.
big.
We can re-engage.
Double
Gets 2
beads.
No, I'm sorry, you got 3 on the back of that. 2 of them using beads. Here comes the Athena ultimate as well.
Zap's
on top.
going down.
The crit's going down onto Zap. Zap is going to fall, but there's big stacks out of this Zeus detonate coming any moment now. He's still taunted.
Look
Bag
at
of
Incon.
Demons is out. Incon doing just loads of damage. PolarBearMike going to fall as well. That's 4 members of Eager cleaned up by Envyus there. I don't think that Cyclone's going to be able to walk down Omega on this tank Xing Tian, but it is a free Gold Fury or Fire Giant perhaps for Envyus.
Did he get a single stack? No, no urchin stacks.
No, it looks like the Soul Laners are just slapboxing each other inside the fight. The whole fight was just constantly running away from the Soul Laners into the left lane, so they couldn't really get in there and do much.
We're going to have to see some kind of a miracle play come out from Omega, but I don't know if he has the control. Remember,
No, he's getting
CycloneSpin
zoned by
still has
Cyclone.
Eagles Rally. Even if Omega fights past him, he's getting stunned.
Yeah, there's no way that he makes it there. Omega's going to be stuck underneath his tower. Look at that split from Envy. Get those mud puddles out of the way for the melees.
That was really good tanking.
Yeah, well done.
I mean, the only thing that I think Weekend could have done better there was dash out of the puddle before it hit him. But if he even used the dash, right, he could have been coupled out by Xing Tian nonsense if Cyclone didn't control him perfectly. So I don't think there was any criticism to be made. I mean, honestly, right there, that was as textbook and perfect of a Fire Giant fight as you could possibly see.
We'll find the Gold Fury here as well. Will Envyus extending this advantage over 10,000 gold already, 10k plus experience. Eager backs on the ropes.
Game 1's looking rough, man. Snoopy, break it down for us in that last fight.
Well, what happened really was the Merkle did end up hitting this fight and into a big, probably Deathbringer crit. You can't do much as a Xbalanque.
You saw that 686 or whatever it was come up on the screen.
And the team just trying to rally towards Zapman, but they were rallying into a Zhong ult. So that's really tough to deal with. And like I said, the Soul Laners were split, so Omega didn't have much.
Yeah, I'm looking
to
at the
do
same thing
in
you
that
are,
fight.
Brandon. Where is the Shell 3 from Eager?
Shell,
I mean, they're just
Heavenly,
letting
Weakening Curse.
forget all of that. I mean, yeah, Heavenly Weakening, sure. Shell is the counter to Zhong Kui. Zhong Kui is a Shell 3 plus Bag of Demons. He's unkillable while his ultimate's active.
Incon is not playing a mage. Incon is playing support right now.
And there's no Shell. I mean, that's exactly.
But I mean,
which
look,
is so surprising because Eager beat Cloud9 repeatedly using a Shell against Zhong Kui.
it's Shell, it's Heavenly, right? They have these auras on the right side, on Envy's side, and there are 3 open active slots, and it's 4 beads, a teleport, and 2 blinks. Like, what are you using these blinks for? What is Xing Tian blinking into?
I think the issue is when they were picking up Shell beforehand, it was on Omega, and Omega seems to want to go the blink route this time. PolarBearMike seems to go blink and beads on most of his supports to not really get locked down.
Yeah,
They
no,
do as much
Kiki
as they
didn't
can.
buy beads, which is very unusual.
And they're just, it's awkward to get it on a carry. Probably Thor is the best one to get it on.
Cyclone pushing the tier 2. Mercury going into the mid lane to push down that tier 2 as well. It's just bleeding gold on the side of Eager, and I just don't see how they're going to catch up unless they start capitalizing on these split pushes. Right there, when they saw Cyclone pushing, they should have engaged because they had the man advantage, and they didn't.
Let's take a quick listen in with the NVS comms here as they spread this map out and see what their strategy is. It looks like they've freed up some space on the tier 2 left.
Back up, back up. I'm getting free tower mid. Yep.
All right.
Damage.
Push
We've got all
Phoenix.
lanes pushed up. Which lane?
Push
are you
Phoenix?
pushing?
We have
pushing
90
right.
seconds. We have 90
I'm
seconds.
pushing right.
Pushing right. They're all going right, it looks like.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
here.
No, 2
Please have
minutes.
creep.
Nice damage. Xing Tian's going in really hard right now. He jumped in
Xing's
on
on.
us in the back.
Xing's on Incon.
I'm
Keeping
okay.
them off you. Good job.
Slowing.
We're going for a bit. We're
I
going
don't
for a
get
bit.
it. It's free.
You get middle.
Yep.
Careful.
Thor's in the
Thor in the
air.
air,
Thor
Thor
in
in
the
the
air.
air, Thor in the air.
Thor in the air. He might go for Allied. He might
I'm
go for
fine.
Allied. Careful.
I have taunt ready. I have taunt ready.
Oh, I
What's the
baited
goal?
it, I baited it, I baited it, I baited
Nice
it.
shot.
That's Thor all down.
All right.
I've
I'm
got
ulting.
Shell.
Now.
Get
That's
ulti.
his blink.
Shell.
I'm
on
ulti Cyclone. I'm ulti Cyclone. This is
Stunning Thor.
this is low.
Thor. Xing Tian.
Zeus?
Xing Tian.
I got two.
1 HP.
Got
Left.
him,
You left.
Nice.
Tower. Tower.
Phoenix.
End the game.
Yeah,
End the
good
game.
end.
Yeah, end.
Okay.
GG.
Stop fire, John. Yeah.
I gave you down a ward just in case you had to teleport back in. Nice job. Good
Well played.
game.
GG.
And
Wow.
yeah, it's 600 health. It's done. First game going to Envy. Eager going to have to dive into that bag of tricks here. Their chances at Worlds hang in the balance.
Snoopy, 2-0, duo lane, minute 1. Is it just I mean, you make the game very hard for yourself.
It's
when that happens.
really hard to come back from that, especially if it's Soul. Soul can pressure so much into that, like you said, or like we saw, she had 1,000 tower damage at 2 minutes in the game. Like she's going from lane to lane, pushing each tower, and then it's getting team gold and team pressure, and
I mean,
stuff.
How did it happen? There must not have been Rising Jaguar in CycloneSpin. It's the only explanation. He had poison darts at level 1. They got taunted into a 2-man reverse or something.
I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe they took the fight and didn't realize how much damage. It seemed because the way Zapt was positioned, he was like in front of Allied. Like his tower was here. Allied was here
in his tower.
And yeah, he was like Allied was positioned in a really good. I don't know how that happened. Like I don't know what possibility we didn't get to see the beginning part of the fight. Yeah. But really well played from Allied. Not so much from Zapt.
CycloneSpin was CycloneSpin for the first time in 3 months. I think that is, I mean, Allied can get all the kills in the world, but Cyclone did Cyclone things that game for the first time in forever.
Yeah, it's been
they
a
were
big
losing
key to their success.
To everyone.
We'll see if they can keep it going into game number 2 here as Eager's going to look to battle back. We'll see, guys. Let's toss it over to Kelly and the analyst now, guys. Break down game number 1 in this best of 3 of Eager versus.
Thank you so much, Mar. Welcome, guys. So we are here at the Analyst Lounge, joined by Herwin from Cloud9. Now, we just saw Eager not necessarily get decimated, but it definitely seemed like once Envyus took that first blood, it was... Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going, Kelly?
It's going great. I believe that you have something to talk about in the start of that game.
Yeah, so really the big thing here was that Soul was able to get first blood. And it was on a purple pot, and as well as first blood, we saw Kiki also find his own kill, and it really seemed that that dual lane started to snowball pretty hard, and Envy was very aggressive.
Right. Well, I think between not giving respect to the Soul purple pot in the dual lane, maybe contesting a wave when maybe you should let yourself get zoned for maybe a couple more waves or whatever you need to do to make sure you don't die. I mean, you have to take into account that the Soul has a purple pot, right?
Yeah.
So she's already 450 gold behind. If you just farm it out and you don't die to it, then you win. But they contested a wave and they died to it.
And that Neef ban actually, I think, was very important that we saw because that's what we're seeing is a lot of players or a lot of teams draft that very defensive style Neef that doesn't have to worry about being aggressive. They can just sit at the back of his tower and clear.
You have safe clear, you have heal for the poke that the Soul puts out. It's just a good matchup, and I think a lot of people are favoring it against Soul.
Now, at the start of the game when we were watching you guys said that Zeus was very heavily prioritized. Do you think that that's something that they're going to continue to do?
I think after that last game, it's not necessarily the Zeus that they're going to prioritize, it's their different active choices on their supports. We saw that last game on the support for Envy. What he did was he got an early shell and an early heavenly agility as opposed to the Geb that went early beads, early blink, and it didn't really work out for Eager's favor the way the Geb was supposed to initiate.
Now, we saw Bellona versus Xing both very strong solo laners, but who exactly wins in that matchup?
Early on, it's definitely Bellona just lane controlling, but once Xing gets his items online, once he gets cooldown boots and Breastplate of Valor, there's really no killing him in that matchup, I would say. I mean, he's just so tanky. He has a lot of HP 5 and a lot of poke, most importantly, the percentage poke.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say that Bellona wins like for probably the first maybe 10 levels, maybe not even. But Xing can just tank up the wave and not lose a lot of gold, maybe get down like 100, 200 gold. And by the time he gets to lane, or level 10, he's actually winning the lane, and he actually just has a lot more impact in the team fight. If he can get in from ahead, obviously Cyclone got ahead from rotation.
Yeah, and the biggest problem was that Omega, while that was a favorable matchup for him, I think, coming into the late game, is the fact that Eager couldn't get to the late game. They had a lot of problems protecting Zeus and there's Xbalanque as well. I think what time was the big fight, the Merc ult? The 23-minute mark, Weekend actually ulted in, hits 3 players.
He got 2 beads instantly.
Got 2 beads instantly, and then blows up Zap with like nearly a 700 crit, and then Zap was out of the fight. Then beads were blown on Zeus. He couldn't protect himself, and it was kind of a pretty big snowballed fight.
You guys mentioned that Eager and Envy are both very emotional teams. Now we just saw Eager lose. Do you think that this means that they're not going to take this next game?
If this was a best of 5, I would still see potential comeback from Eager, but given that this is a best of 3, it's going to be very difficult to come back after that kind of a loss. They were playing a little bit silly in the duel lane, so they're going to have to clean up those mistakes if they want to win the next game.
Herwin, how does emotions affect you and your team while you guys are playing?
Well, C9 takes everything very seriously, and I know that our team, maybe more so than any other team, has the ability to take losses and learn from them and understand that, okay, we lost to that. We just have to assume that we just picked wrong or that was good, and we take our losses I think how a team should take their loss, and maybe not get really emotional about it. Understand that you have to keep playing the set. Just learning. I don't know.
How important is like adapting? Because we not the player, but adapting in the middle of a set, especially at best of 3, right? Best of 5's a little bit easier, I think, to adapt. But best of 3's, how do you really come back from such a pretty dominant game 1 coming out of Envy?
I think that with these two teams, you just have to completely rethink everything and take this time in between games and just say, we need to reevaluate what we think is good. We need to reevaluate how we've been playing. Because when they played us, every game goes to full build.
Yep.
No matter what you pick, the teams are so close. Everyone knows how to play the game so well that it just gets to full build every game. And I think Eager was still picking for that, but Envy was playing for pressure, and they weren't ready for that.
Before we toss to the casters, I actually want to talk to you guys about the importance of who gets the kills. We saw Kiki on Athena, I believe at the 12-minute mark, was 3-0. But you were saying that people probably overvalue the amount of kills that a support gets and that it's not actually negative. Can you go a little bit more into detail?
Yeah, so obviously support getting first blood is a little bit better on the hunter, but in this situation, the support was able to get the Hardwood Amulet and tier 2 sovereignty around the 13-minute mark, and there was a team fight that broke out, and the support Geb only had tier 2 of the Height of the Urchin, so he wasn't as tanky as the Athena. And off of that team fight, I think they got 2 kills and then pressured the Soul Lane tower from there.
On a similar note, Xbalanque actually didn't have that many kills, and because of his passive, it's very important for him to get those kills, to get that passive stacked. But what do you play differently as Xbalanque as a whole team when you have him on your team?
I think you want to play a little bit more passively, or make sure that your Xbalanque can get some early kills, play around him. Unfortunately, though, the big problem was the fact that Zap got first blooded.
All right, well, we're about to find out, everyone, for Game 2 with the casters.